What was unique about you is while others maybe don't spend enough time to understand the strength that their client have, they always try to fit you within one thing. And having my experience, I couldn't fit in only pharmacist or only diplomat or only banker. I am who I am, and I needed somebody to understand me from that perspective. And you give me that feeling after 10 minutes of conversations. And then at some point, you told me you don't need to fit in any of these. You build your own unique profile, and that's it. That gives me more confidence in the process. I appreciate lawyers and the legal work they do, but having a full team of people who see things from different perspectives is unique.
Hey guys, welcome back to another interview here at Visa Franchise YouTube channel. We have our esteemed client, Mustafa Amar. Mustafa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aladdin. Great having me on the and speaking to you again. Thank you.
Thanks. I mean, it's great to have you. Thanks for being here. Mustafa, the reason why we're doing this interview is to sort of like show your process to our prospective clients and people who are pretty much wanting to do the same thing, and they would like to get inspired by you and maybe learn a bit more about how your process went. But before we go into that, I'd like my audience to get to know you a little bit. Prior to the interview, I asked about how should I introduce you. You've been a man of many talents, but I guess I'm just going to leave it to you. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thanks, Aladdin. Thank you. So, yeah, in reincarnation vocabulary, I lived a few lives in the past. I had the first life as a pharmacist out of passion for chemistry. I was a diplomat also representing my home country, Egypt, for 10 years. I work in the UN in New York, in Malawi, in Africa, and in China. In my third life, I work in investment banking. And then I did coaching after that for 5 years. Now, as an investor in the future of work, in my fifth life, if I would say.
Brilliant. And Mustafa, you've reached out to us, I think, was it last September, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly?
exactly around September, early October. Yeah,
Yeah, around September, October time. And you first came with an intention to, move to the US and expand your
yeah,
business and
yeah,
practice, so to
yeah.
speak, here. Um, what was going through your mind at the very beginning, and then how did we get in touch, and has it changed the proposed way?
I have a secret actually to share with you because we didn't maybe talk about this before. That I was trying to get a working visa here in the US since I think summer 2021. Uh,
Okay.
I reached out to dozens of lawyers with different backgrounds just to explore what type of visa that I could have. I had paid consultations with many of them as well, like 30 minutes, 1 hour conversation on okay, what the type of visa that I could have. Unfortunately, uh, since then until we talk together, I couldn't find the right one that I felt number one. I have somehow full confidence, at least 90%, that the process will be successful. Second, somebody that would give me an explanation, an expectation of what would happen, because it was mostly vague in the idea. I never lost hope. I was all the time trying with different ideas of different working visas, different types. And, that tells you since, summer 2021 until we talked in September last year, was a bit of a painful exercise, painful, I would say, time. You try different options, you speak to different people and different lawyers and different services, and you have a few hopes, but at some point, things don't translate into an actual visa. And then I was watching your videos on other types of visa, including the franchise one. I like your work on social media. Somehow I could say I built that confidence and trust, with you on social media, watching your videos, guys, until the time came where I had an actual offer letter from one of the investment firm here in New York, and I thought, okay, this might be the right time. I know you guys for a while. Let's have the conversation. And when we had the conversation together, Aladdin, what was unique about you is while others maybe don't spend enough time to understand the strength that their client have, and also they always try to fit you within one thing. And having my experience, I couldn't fit in only pharmacist or only diplomat or only banker. I am who I am, and I needed somebody to understand me from that perspective. And you give me that feeling after 10 minutes of conversation. You ask a few questions, fair questions, and then at some point you told me, listen, you don't need to fit in any of these. You build your own unique profile, and that's it. uh, that give me more confidence in the process. I also know that you work in a different ways. I appreciate lawyers and the legal work they do, but also um, having a full team of people who see things from different perspective is unique. And I really appreciate Carola and your team. She was managing the whole thing, my profile, all the interactions with other teammates. Marcos also was great. They handle this. It's so tough to handle a direct conversation with a lawyer who is so busy looking at documents all the time. But if you have somebody in between who's able to handle this and manage that gap, I think and this is what is really unique about you yourself, guys. I will stop here and then we can take it wherever we want.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you so much for that. I mean, Mustafa, but I mean, you came in with you knew what you wanted to do, and you opened yourself up, and you said, "Hey, this is who I am. Let me put it all on the table. Let's get to know one another, get to know me, and see if you can do something for me, right?" And this is very important from prospects, as if sometimes we talk to people and they come in very fixated upon certain visa categories. Hey, I have questions about L1. I have questions about E2. What if I do this and that and this and that? Does this happen after that, and does this come after that? That kind of really limits what the possibilities are,
True,
right?
true,
But your approach, on the other hand, was like, hey guys, look, anything can happen, anything can go, but here is who I am and here is what I want to do. What do you think? What can you do for me? And there was a good marriage afterwards, and thank you for doing that. Um, Let me ask you another question, Mustafa. This whole process, in terms of timelines, until you really started working with Visa franchise till you got your visa. Number one, how long that was. Number two, do you think it could have been faster? Number three, how easy, I guess, the process was, and in some of the things that you would have done differently if you were to do it again.
we started the actual work in October. I remember I filed everything, I think from October 1st or 2nd to October 8th, because I was on a long travel after that. And I wanted to file everything and give the team everything they have to start. And I got my approval April 1st this year, 2025.
Very
So
good.
in terms of the timeline, it's good. It's not too long.
6 7 months.
Exactly 7 months. It's not too long. I would definitely share. Also, I had some frustration moments in the middle, because sometimes we agreed with the lawyer on a certain timeline that we should file by this date, and it didn't happen because of this and this. But again, I understand if somebody has a lot of things on his plate, you expect a few weeks, delay. Uh, and at some point, I had to go with the premium processing option, because I didn't have the luxury to wait for, I don't know, 4 or 5 more months. Uh, Again, I had a job offer, and I wanted to start, and the plan was to start in April, or and it had to happen. So um, it's an extra cost, but again, you have the promise to have the an answer within a couple of weeks, which made my life easier at some point. If I would do anything different, I would just stress that there are some expectations in terms of timeline. But again, I give all the positive feedback for Carola and the team to manage all of that. And, uh, a lot of hassle if I do this myself. And they were actually on it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. In terms of the O-1, from time to time, I mean, we do have a unique positioning here. I don't know if we have petitioned on your behalf. We're really agent petitioner for you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we have a unique positioning where we have a sister company based out of New York called VF USA LLC, where we can act as agent petitioner. What that does to the applicant is that it opens the applicant up for more than one work at the same time. So for coaches like you, or very highly qualified professionals, or people who can work for more than one company, this gives them the ultimate flexibility because your visa is quote unquote in a traditional sense sponsored by Visa franchise, but you are providing services to those who you have the contracts of. Now, although that is the case, O-1 is still does still has a criteria where it could be pretty scary for most people when you go to the USCIS website and you look at, okay, criteria one, awards. Have you won any awards? Any recognitions? Any
Yeah.
associations?
Yeah.
Have you made a lot of money? Have you played a critical role? So
Yeah.
it's a big bulky plus the word extraordinary ability. It's kind of a little scary. But from your perspective, I'm sure you've read your petition. I'm sure you now understand and make sense of the criteria and what the USCIS wants to see. Would you say, was it intimidating in the beginning, and as you started the process you realized that, okay, this is why this criteria is there and this
Yeah.
is what they're trying to do, and here's the evidence? Oh, by the way, I had this particular evidence that I never thought of. Here is from my back pocket. There you go, to sort of like build a petition together.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for mentioning the agency that you have under your sleeve, because the challenge I had in the past with O-1 visa is doesn't give you freedom. And as somebody in my career now, I'm looking for more freedom. I run different projects and different things at the same time. I needed this freedom. And you, Aladdin, when you mentioned that during our first onboarding call, that was, I love this. I want to have that freedom. I want to have that authority. That I'm not only working with one place or one organization. That you never know, if anything goes wrong, you're not in control. But if you have control over the process, and you can lend your expertise to different organizations, this is perfect. So when you say this, it was like, okay, I want to do this. Having said that, looking at the criteria, I mean, it's intimidating, and I'm someone who spent long time. We speak about already 4 years on learning about every type of visa that I could apply for, speaking to different legal experts and different agencies. O-1 was always the first option to look at, but again, with what we had on the other side, that less freedom, less control, all of that, it wasn't really easy. But what you guys helped me to do is, first of all, when I spend time on looking back at my history and my achievement in the past, very interesting experience, because you get to forget a lot about those successes that you had in the past.
Right.
Yeah. So when you file according to the survey, when you file each one of those successes, and just build that resume in a different way, you start looking at things from different perspective. Second, I didn't have this experience with others. For example, the award winning. So personally, I didn't win any award personally. But when I ask you guys, I did work on this project that is $210 million solar park back home in Egypt when I was in investment banking. And that project got the award of the year in 2017. So it's an international award for that project. But being that person who, first of all, brought that project to my bank and convinced almost everybody on board to do it, and then lobby for it, and then was in the team, and almost from the beginning and the inception to all the way to the end, would that translate to connect that to an award? And the answer was yes. And I didn't get this answer from anyone else before I worked with you guys. So we built the case in a very logical way to just show proof that my work on this project from the day one to last day helped to get that project to get that award. So that connection, not everyone has. People just ask a very direct question: Did you get an award? Of course, no. But I like how you play around this and you give the space and the time to explore things and connect things together.
Thank you so much for that. And it is true. While you're going through these criteria, you're like, oh my God, I never know that I had that. Hey, I have that. I have this. I have that. The good thing, I guess, here is that, you have the initial first month or so, or second month or so, where you really need to do a deep research on who you are. Of course, our guys come into your unorganized world and
Yeah.
try to, organize it a little bit, and we have certain tools and softwares that we use, as you're quite familiar with, where you get to upload your documents based on certain criteria and etc. But not everybody is aware of their achievements that could constitute that could create evidence, and that could be used for a specific criteria
Yes.
to bolster a particular case.
Yes.
That's where working together in a very structured way is very important and very handy. Okay, cool. Well, I think this has been a great interview, Mustafa. If you were to advise yourself before starting this project, or somebody who's in your shoes, or somebody who's not really lived a few different successful business lives, but you know a software engineer, an environmental engineer, or a very successful marketing person, someone who have one or two achievements, right? Maybe they're getting paid highly, maybe they're holding a critical role in a
Yes.
distinguished organization, and they worked in some projects and done some things, but they don't really know whether the criteria would fit. What would be your advice to them if they wanted to look into the O-1 visa?
Well, I think the first one is to find the right partner, the right agency, because if you work with anyone just knocking on your doors, I don't think they are able to get you where you want. You need to have at least 90% 95% confidence, in that relationship and where they can take you. This is number one. Number two, it's a long-term game. So what I mean by long-term is you need to see your profile and what's missing and what you need to do to build those missing gaps, and then help get that agency help you to fill the gaps. So I don't mind if I start with the right agency that it takes even a year, but in that year that you will help me, or even a year and a half, they will help me step by step to fill all those missing gaps in my profile, make the case very valid. Instead of three criteria, I would be qualified in four or five, and then apply with confidence.
Cool. All right, Mustafa, thank you so much for taking the time. People like you do inspire, people who are watching this video. And if you become successful in your career, guys, and you want to come to the US, and maybe you're thinking about the E2 visa, maybe you're thinking about, EB2 NIW green card, there could be another way that could get you here faster, or that could provide you that freedom and flexibility that you're looking for faster. Maybe it's not necessarily the ultimate solution, but within the grand scheme of things, it could serve a very, very important purpose. And for us to be able to know that, we need to get to know you. And if you can, go down in the description box below and fill out the form and schedule a call. We'd be happy to get onto a call and see what we can do together. On that note, thank you very much for watching. And Mustafa, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure. Thank you.